When was the last time you went to the circus? Unless we're talking Cirque du Soleil, you likely haven't been to a proper big top clowns, ringmaster, whole shebang circus, right? It's not really a thing nowadays, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say most young people don't really have a concept of going to the circus either. If you're my age, or even a little older, you might have been to a Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey show at one point in your life. If you're older than that, first off, hi Mom. Second, how did you find this channel? Like, what were you searching? But maybe you're thinking to yourself that you've been to a carnival and you're wondering if that counts. Good news, it does. Carnivals, by some definitions, are circuses. Who knew? Anyway, if you've read comics like I do, you've likely noticed that the circus is a no good, very bad place where lots of awful stuff happens. If I had read Gold and Silver Age comics earlier in my life, I'd be convinced that by going to the circus I'd witness a murder, see organized crime showing up to sabotage something in a deadly way, I'd maybe be a snack for some animal that might have been set loose, or get shrunk down to the size of an insect and be made to battle for my life. Or maybe you're Superman, and in your pursuit to try and join the circus to protect it from gangsters, you pose as a strongman and destroy circus property in order to prove you're stronger than the guy that they have. Honestly, there's one big takeaway from all of these stories, and it's this: nothing good ever happens at the circus. And if you think I'm exaggerating here, I am happy to provide you with many examples. Full disclosure, by the way, if you have coulrophobia, the fear of clowns, I'm sorry, the rest of this video is not going to be great for you. I'm just warning you ahead of time. Richard Dick Grayson, the first Robin, later Nightwing. Part of a family of trapeze artists in the Haley Circus. His entire family is murdered in front of him. Nothing good ever happens at the circus. Clint Barton, Hawkeye. After running away from a foster home to join the traveling circus, the Carson Carnival, he is trained by the swordsman and trickshot to be a master archer. Swordsman is later found to be embezzling money from the circus, and when Clint confronts him, he's beaten nearly to death. Nothing good ever happens at the circus. Boston Brand, Dead Man, a circus performer who was killed mid-act and is now a ghost who haunts the world. Say it with me, nothing good ever happens at the circus. The Circus of Crime, a literal circus run by a supervillain called the Ringmaster who would hypnotize the audience mid-show and have his performers rob them. Nothing good ever happens at the circus. Now, these are just a few obvious examples, and there are a lot of characters who get retconned, remade, and alternate universed into having some affiliation with a circus, carnival, or other such thing. Heck, even Ghost Rider is a part of a traveling motorcycle stunt show, and I want to count that, but honestly, it's just a singular show with him as the star, and not a whole thing. Same with Nightcrawler, who, depending on the version of the comics you're reading, was also in the circus, but sometimes is also not. It's kind of vague. Regardless, these sorts of things are real common in comics during the Gold and Silver Age. But why? My theory is that writers used circuses because they ticked a lot of boxes when it came to making quick and easy characters. Folks who work in these traveling shows are not beholden to one location, so you don't have to establish a big setting like Metropolis or New York. Anytown, USA works just fine and provides you with fresh scenery each issue. Circus performers already have a variety of skills that most 9-to-5ers won't have, which are much more useful for fighting crime than, say, the ability to balance a financial account. That's a challenge out there to anyone with their certified public accountant character that they've been working on. I want to read that comic, please send it my way. But strongmen, daredevils, acrobats, and trick shooters are a lot more suited to daring do, and frankly, more comfortable with it. They also have the built-in mystery that permeated these places due to showmanship, flashy costumes, and, let's face it, horrific exploitation of animals, individuals with non-standard appearances, and more. Is that magic act really magic? Maybe. Is that person really a creature from another time and place? The answer could surprise you. While they may be anachronistic now, back then most people would think of one and conceivably go, ah yes, I know what to expect when going to a circus, the same way most people now can think of a movie theater or an amusement park. Oh, that reminds me, I've not included amusement parks in the same category as circuses. This is in part because of their stationary nature. It lacks the ephemeral charm that a circus might possess. Sure, you can have a sketchy amusement park that is bound to have weird characters like Wonder Wharf from Bob's Burgers, but it becomes a known quantity after a time. With a circus, it's unknown, especially if it's different from the last one you saw. All of these aspects made for an easily shiftable recipe for success when it comes to creating a character. Alter the spices a bit, and you have a different flavor of the same person. This feeds into the practice of Gold and Silver Age writers making tons and tons of similar characters in the varying companies of the time period. I'm going to give you another list, show you how popular this practice was. Again, this is a quick internet search from public domain superheroes, nowhere near as extensive as it could be. Black Kitten, Harvey Comics, 1951. A young man who is the son of circus aerialists is orphaned after their murder. That sounds familiar. He is taken in by the Black Cat and trained to be a crime fighter. Blue Streak, Headline Comics, 1945. Jim Dare's family of trapeze artists from the great Dingling Brothers Circus is killed by a gang attempting a robbery. He swears to bring the killers to justice and becomes the Blue Streak. Dingling Brothers. The Dark Archer, Thrilling Comics, 1942. A criminal that used to be a former acrobat who tries to get revenge on the board of directors of the bank that he robbed. El Cuchillo, Fight Comics, 1946. A knife thrower from a carnival who tried to assassinate government officials in an attempt to install a dictator. Fire Eater, Choice Comics, 1941. Guess what this guy did? He ate fire for a circus. Well, he also had the ability to breathe and control fire, was resistant to flames, blah blah blah, but still, a little on the nose there. Great Zorro, Great Comics, 1941. Geez, some of these company names. A circus aerialist who received a box of magical herbs that turned him into a superhero after a group of racketeers burned down the circus. Alright, this one's a little bit questionable, kids. Don't eat herbs you don't know. Lady Doom, Magazine Enterprises, 1952. Okay, no comic in the company name that time? Alright, fine. An expert knife thrower and pistol markswoman, Lady Doom traveled the country with her death wheel that once spun would tell you your fate. I could go on here, but I think I've made my point. However, I believe this poses an interesting challenge that might be worth thinking about from a standpoint of iteration in our modern lens. A lot of the abilities that are being talked about here are, yes, circus acts, minus, the flying and the breathing fire. Those are pretty impossible to see, but if you can do those, boy, do you have a future in entertainment, I'll tell you what. You can also see a lot of these skills at another place, the Renaissance Fair. I know what you're thinking, but I genuinely believe that the Renaissance Fair is the new circus in terms of niche entertainment you can see that has a variety of skills with applications for crime fighting. Think about it for a second. Jugglers, medieval combat enthusiasts, acrobats, smiths, fencers, all of these things could be used in the pursuit of dealing out justice. Do Ren Fairs tend to travel? No, but there are so many of them that your character could travel to different ones and be in new locations each storyline. And don't even get me started on medieval times, okay? Not a traveling show, but there are multiple locations. All right. Some of you aren't buying it. Maybe not Ren Fairs, but what about all those YouTube channels and TikToks of people doing incredible things too? You can't tell me those dudes doing the trick shots from a stadium away are not Bullseye or Deadshot looking into the camera going, like and subscribe. Or what about that the combat buff who knows everything about warfare? That dude is 1000% a superhero. Any and all of those parkour channels are just Daredevil and Nightwing showing off. This person is absolutely one of the Dora Milaje from Black Panther, or a member of the Bat Family. And this guy using a bow and arrow from a stripper pole? Come on, that's Hawkeye. I'm also just going to put this video of a guy training like a space marine right here, and you tell me which superhero he is, just by the level of coordination, strength, and training that takes. I think the off-the-beaten-path skills that people used to have in circuses are now much more easily accessible, or at the very least pursuable in today's day and age. You put it online and suddenly it's entertainment, not just a weird thing someone does in their off time. You can hand wave it and say I'm doing it for views and folks will go, oh, okay. They might still look at you funny and shake their heads and tell you to get a real job, but that's just what they did to circus people. Hell, they do that to pro wrestlers still, and those people dress up like actual superheroes. By the way, there are pro wrestler superheroes. Check out Nightmare from Clue Comics in 1943. His sidekick's name is Sleepy. There's so much to unpack here, I can't do it right now. All I'm saying is that this might be an untapped area for superhero origins that's gone overlooked for a while. I think anyone coming up with their own characters should seriously consider it. I know I will. If this has inspired you to make something new, great. I cannot wait to see it come to life. I hope you enjoyed following this wild hare with me. See you next time.